Hello, seems like you have stumbled upon our project video. We're glad if you've decided to stay and watch it. But before we start, I and my team would like to thank Yumita ma'am for presenting us this opportunity, as working on this project has given us a better understanding of the particular topic that we'll be discussing in this video. Without further ado, let us move to the topic and the chapter we have decided to study on. The chapter that we decided on is the third level, written by Jack Finney, and the topic that it tackles is escapism. So we chose the chapter as well as the topic. But how did we approach it? Well, it was difficult to decide on the approach. But we decided we wanted to interview people and record their various aspects. But as we moved forward with that idea, we had to abandon it, as it seemed irrational to us to approach random people in the streets. However, since there wasn't a lot of material in the project we had recorded, we decided that we would continue with the interview. However, we would select certain individuals with certain lifestyles, living with unique perspectives of life. Why did we need unique perspectives? Well, the topic that we studied immersely in this chapter was escapism from reality. Now, what is reality? Isn't each one of our perspectives of the term and aspect of reality different? Do we not live different lives? Do we not make different choices? Well, if we do, then I'd assume reality must be perceived differently by each unique individual. With that in mind, we decided to interview people from various spectrums of our diverse society. The specific people that we chose were an optimist, a pessimist, a realist, a believer, an atheist, a nihilist, a narcissist, a literary enthusiast, an artist, a former substance abuser, a suicide survivor, a psychotherapist, a senior citizen, and a child.
So, without any further delay, let's get into the interviews. Is life fun for you?
Uh, I like to say there is no definite answer to that question because life does have its ups and downs. Some people have more ups than downs, and some people have more downs than ups, if you know what I'm saying. But right now, I think for all of us, life is a bit stale because of everything that's going around in these times.
Life is good and fun, mostly for delusional people, I'd say. No offense to anyone, but I'm mostly talking about people who believe that nothing bad can really happen in life and that everything will work out according to their plan or something. But as Murphy's laws has it, anything that can go bad will go bad. And life isn't so much fun when you see its dark side. But I'd be lying if I say that it doesn't have its fair share of good. And even though I'm a pessimist, I can say that life is fun at times with friends, with family. Those fun memories are something I cherish forever.
Whatever you believe, if you do that, if you focus on what you want to achieve, life can be meaningful and it can be fun side by side.
मजा आउँछ तर मम्मीले मलाई जहिले पनि पढ्नु बसाउँछ मम्मीले भन्नुहुन्छ तर तिमी ठुलो भएर एउटा ठुलो मान्छे बनिन्छौ पढ्यो भने तर मलाई खेल्नै मनपर्छ
Growing up as an individual, my childhood wasn't very good. It was pretty toxic. But as I grew up to be independent, adult life got a little bit more easier and uh, I felt less of a burden to my family.
ठिकैको छ पहिलाको जस्तो अब तन्दुरुस्त नभए पनि नानीहरूको अब उयोहरू देख्दाखेरि उनीहरूको सिब्लिङहरू देख्दाखेरि खुसी लाग्छ आफूलाई अहिले यसरी जिउँदैछु उनीहरूलाई हेर्नु पाइरहेको छु उनीहरूसँग जिउनु पाइरहेको छु हाँसी खुसी बाँच्नु पाइरहेको छु यसैले जिन्दगी मलाई मेरो ख्यालमा ठिकै लाग्छ मलाई
Next question. Does your life feel hard sometimes? And what do you do when it gets hard? It does feel hard sometimes. We do have to face a lot of challenges in our work life or even in our daily relationships or everything. I think it is hard. But then I do believe that these are all the trials that God is trying to test us. And we have to believe in Him. And then He will take us out of all the situations and we will excel in life.
Well, yeah, it does have some hardships, but that's just life. It has its ups and downs, and like you have to work hard and get through it yourself. Nobody is going to come and do it for you. And sitting in a room and praying to some superficial being to take care of your troubles is not going to do you any good. At the end of the day, you yourself have to step up and take control of your life and improve it.
Uh, every day feels like a battle with not just the world, but also with yourself and your feelings and your emotions and your thoughts. And it's harder for people like me who don't really believe in hope. It's harder and harsher for us. But I can't just bat an eye to everything bad that happens in the world and say that only good exists. And so that's the reason I drown myself in negative thoughts, which is not quite healthy. So when sometimes it gets too hard to bear, I try to distract myself by reading books, by sometimes talking to friends, by watching movies and other stuffs.
साह्रो पर्छ इक्जाम आउँदा होमवर्क बेसी आउँदा
साह्रो पर्छ
हजुर
अन्त के गर्छ साह्रो पर्दाखेरि चाहिँ
अब जे गरौँ उयो इक्जामको लागि त पढ्नै पर्छ जे गरौँ होमवर्क त गर्नै पर्छ
It was hard for me back then. It's one of the main reasons why I got into drugs. When life was hard back then, I got into some wrong influences. And still, life is hard, but now I listen to good music. It keeps me calm, and then I have some good friends and people around me who keeps me sane.
After receiving such fruitful answers from the previous two questions, we then decided to go in deeper into this topic by asking them more deep and philosophical questions. And so, our next question was, what was reality for them, and do they want to escape it?
Reality is the life I'm living, and I'm living it to the full extent. I believe that I am the best, and I do not have any need to escape from this reality. And I think that everyone else should have this mentality to solve all their problems and move forward in life.
Reality for me used to be everything that was bad about the world and myself. I couldn't even describe what I was feeling inside of me. And I have been running all my life, and I don't think so. And I think that previous attempt of me escaping just hurted the people that I loved, and I guess I would like to face the reality more better than so ever.
Reality for me is the current world we are living in, but it is also believing in oneself and the world. If you tell me that I could live in a world where I rule and I can do whatever I want to, I would gladly accept it and do whatever I want. But doing nothing and dreaming about good times will never make it happen.
Sometime or the other, no one has a perfect day or a life. Reality is cool, and yes, I would like to escape it.
जिन्दगीको रियालिटी भनेको चाहिँ तपाईँको अब जस्तै मान्छे जन्मिएपछि मर्नुपर्छ है अब सानो अब एउटा बच्चादेखि यौवन अवस्था हुँदै हुँदै वृद्ध अवस्था पुगेपछि मृत्यु हुन्छ जस्तै सत्य मृत्यु एउटा सत्य महासत्य रियालिटी हो यसबाट कोही पनि भाग्न सकिँदैन भाग्नु पनि हुँदैन किनभने यो हाम्रो यसको रियालिटी नै लाइफको रियालिटी नै चाहिँ हाम्रो सबै रियालिटीमै आधारित हुन्छ हाम्रो कुनै घटनाहरू कुनै उयोहरू अब हामीले जस्तो लेखेर आएको छ त्यही हुन्छ
रियालिटी भनेको के हो
लाइफ के हो तिम्रो लागि
लाइफ मेरो लागि पढ्नु टिभी हेर्नु साथीहरूसँग खेल्नु
What do you use as a means of escapism from reality? Do you think it has some relation with your childhood?
Um, First of all, escapism for me would be like distracting myself whenever things get hard, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like it can, life for everyone can get pretty tough sometimes, and I guess we all do need to distract ourselves and entertain ourselves, let's say. And so I do use I do escape my reality, so to say, using all the various forms of entertainment that are available to me, like movies and books, especially games, because video games I can get really immersed in, and it's a sort of interactive experience that no other form of entertainment can offer. Um, I I've heard that such forms of escapism are do have ties to a person's childhood, but I personally am not aware if anything is related. It might be, but I'm not aware.
I think I don't escape reality at all because I've already found peace in this world. You know, God has created us in this world, and we have to live through it. So there's nothing called escapism from this world for me.
I do not want to escape from reality. It is one of the reasons why I am an atheist, is because I want to stay rooted in reality. And I think that most believers, they want to escape reality, and they escape reality through the means of their faith. So they believe in a superficial being, and they think that by doing good things they'll be granted a place in paradise. And non-believers like me will be sent to hell after I pass away. Which now I do not believe in hell. Such a place doesn't exist, and all those are mere fables. So believe. So that was one of the reason why I am an atheist. I do not want to put my hopes on a superficial being and think that he is going to solve all of my life problems. I want to stay rooted in reality. I want to work on those problems myself.
I have no need for escapism, as my reality is the best reality.
Truth to be told, I didn't do drugs just to escape reality, but to make reality a bit better. And I do think it has some relation with my childhood because my childhood didn't went as smooth as it should have been.
I'm a literary enthusiast, and as you may know, how literary enthusiasts are. I love reading books. There are many things, just not just books. I enjoy many things. I use a lot of things to escape reality. Things like movies, games, and traveling, and reading books, of course. I am very perplexed by how mesmerizing the imaginary worlds and the fictional world can be sometimes. It can be so enticing. You may feel like you want to be there forever, but you shouldn't be there. That's my advice to you all. There will be that point where you're going to hit, oh, am I even in reality? You're going to hit that point. And I feel like that is the point when you need to come back.
A lot of things actually, like writing poems in my writing my journal, watching anime, series, movies, reading books, reading comic books, and all. So basically, I guess it's venting myself to a non-judgmental paper or just escaping into a fictional world, which I do find important. By the way, escaping into fictional world. And sometimes when the real world gets too harsh, people do need to escape into a fictional world where everything is under their control, where people won't laugh at them for being who they are. And this form of escapism is quite fun I'd say. And I do think it has some relation with my childhood. I think it has a relation with everyone, almost everyone who escape in a fictional world. As when we were kids, we were quite creative, and so maybe this escapism is just a way of connecting ourselves to our past selves. That's what I truly believe. Next question. Do you think trying to escape reality is a good thing, or is it something one must not do?
I think there is nothing called escaping from the reality because जो है सामने वही है. You cannot escape out from things because that would be something deviating from the God's path. You can say something like that, or it is something that is not actually reality. It is something else, and you are trying to escape from it. But at the end of the day, we have to get back to God because He's the one who has created us, and he is the one who has sent us over here. So at the end, we have to go back to him.
Personally, I feel that escaping reality at times is necessary, because people need to have the peace of mind. It's like taking a break from a hectic life. And as a former substance abuser, I would not recommend one to escape reality through the means of drugs because it kills you more than it heals you. So, lastly, I would like to say that kids don't do drugs.
लास्ट क्वेसन कि रियालिटीबाट एस्केप गर्नु के तपाईँको अनुसार राम्रो हो कि राम्रो होइन?
यो मेरो ख्यालमा चाहिँ खासमा अब अहिले अब मेच्योरिटी आउँदा चाहिँ राम्रो होइन, तर अब एउटा स्टेज आउँछ जब हामी यङ हुन्छौँ, त्यसमा त्यति बेला चाहिँ हामीलाई अलिकति टेम्परेरी डिस्ट्र्याक्सन आएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि हामीले चाहिँ एक्सेप्ट गर्नु सकिन्छ कि भन्ने त्योपट्टि गएर चाहिँ हामी डिस्ट्र्याक्ट हुन्छौँ र त्यसलाई ट्राई गर्छौँ। तर एक्चुअली चाहिँ हामीले रियालिटीदेखि चाहिँ फेस गरेर यसलाई फेसअप गरेर योसँग एकदम कस्तो प्रकारले उयो हुन्छ जुझेर योसँग चाहिँ स्ट्रगल गरेर चाहिँ यसबाट पार गर्ने कोसिस गर्नुपर्छ, किनभने रियालिटीदेखि चाहिँ कोही पनि भाग्नु सक्दैन। संसारका कुनै कुनामा गएर पनि हामी बाँच्नेवाला छैनौँ। जसले गर्दाखेरि जब जब हाम्रोमा मेच्योरिटी आउँदै जान्छ हामीलाई समय र उसले चाहिँ सिकाउँदै जान्छ कि रियालिटी इज ए रियालिटी, नेभर क्यान बी चेन्ज। अब यो चाहिँ चेन्ज हुँदैन र यसलाई चाहिँ तर यसलाई हामीले सहज मजाले अब एकअर्काको हेल्प लिएर एकअर्कासँग डिस्कस गरेर मजाले उयोसँगले जियो भनेदेखि चाहिँ आज यसलाई इजी चाहिँ बनाउन सक्छौँ तर एस्केप गर्न सक्दैनौँ अनि भाग्नु पनि हुँदैन। यो मूर्ख उयो काम गर्नु हुँदैन हामीले।
You don't escape reality. You hop on from one dream to another. As for whether it is good or bad, it is subjective. Only you can decide for yourself whether you want to escape this thing called reality or you do not want to. It is up to you. Just make sure you do not lose yourself.
It depends upon the person itself, how strong he or she is mentally. But and it also depends on how long the person can go without escaping. But I guess I have to go with yes, escaping is better because it gives the brain some mental peace and it helps us to process what's going on in reality right now.
But you wouldn't suggest escaping life on itself.
Yeah, escaping life isn't good as it always hurts the people that you love.
I do understand people who want to escape reality. I do understand their feelings, and even maybe, even though I cannot empathize with them on many different levels for the situation that they are in, but then I try to understand them. It's kind of my work also. So it is okay to escape reality sometimes, but I try to say that, don't make it a habit. Try not to make it a habit of, escaping reality, because then you start dissociating, dissociating in terms such as like you don't know what is happening in reality. You don't know. You start feeling like everything is a dream. Then you start depersonalizing and derealizing things, no? So such things, then it becomes problematic and psychological in nature. So once it becomes a habit and you start dissociating from things, then in our subject we treat it as a psychological or a psychiatric issues. So then that becomes a time when you have to consult a psychiatrist or a psychologist. So, but then once in a while, just to escape the normal stresses of life, just to relax yourself, it is okay to escape reality.
Do you think it is the reality of the world that brings us down, or is it just the people in our world that brings us down?
I believe that the reality, the people are a big part of the reality, right, that we live in. And reality is a close synonym to truth, right? And I feel like truth is subjective. And if you connect the dots, reality is subjective. There will be, you all have different views and we all live in our different circles. But these, when the views of the other people and your views collide, they tend to collide and result in bad things. I feel like people can be pretty bad to you. People will be harsh, and you just deal with it. And dealing with those people is a big part of reality. I feel like the world and the people work in conjunction to bring you down, not reality in general. Reality is just there.
Would you say that your attempt of suicide was your final escapism from the world, from the harshness of the world?
Yeah, that seemed a easier way to go than rather facing reality.
After analyzing the answers we received from interviewing different category of people, we were quite amazed to find how contrasting the answers and beliefs were. And we were able to notice that while people with positive attitude were able to tackle their problems more healthily, people with negative attitude found it harder to cope up. And the people who were more realistic had some points of both the category and yet were rooted to the real world. And though their beliefs were contrasting, most people agreed that they do escape reality from time to time, even though they suggest it's not a good thing to do. Again, here we find out some people claim not to escape reality, and some people openly claim that they escape reality, while a third set of people deny escaping reality but are doing it subconsciously, like a believer and a narcissist, even though when inquired, they denied this theory. When looked psychologically deeper, one realizes for some, narcissism is also an escapism from his insecurities and fear. Similarly, faith is an escapism for believers, an escapism from truth, and the fear of being a flawed human. This theory seemed very controversial, but it was something we couldn't help but notice. We also found out how different the definition of reality was for a kid and a senior citizen. Kids were oblivious to the truth of reality. They didn't even know what reality really was. For kids, reality is all about being happy and having fun. But as we grow up, we learn about the world and we become different humans with different opinions as such in the category that we just showed. We come to a certain age of maturity and then we realize that life is not all sunshine and rainbows, and neither is it all hailstorm and rain. We also noticed the escapism most people resorted to was somehow related to their childhood, the hobbies and sports they learned when they were kids, or getting lost in the fictional world. As kids, we had high creativity and very huge imagination. Similarly, as many tend to use fiction as a form of escapism, it came to our notice that maybe it was because even unknowingly, fiction in a way connected them to the wild imagination they had as a kid. It connected them to the times that were much more simpler, and it made them feel safe, as people tend to escape into things that make them feel safe. The only difference between the kid we were then and the person we are now is that we used to believe in those fairy tales, and now we are just trying to live in a world of make believe.